I'm seeing a very weird, I don't know how to put it, disingenuous claim that's going on around everywhere. It's the claim that a game for everyone is a game for no one being used in the context of multi-platform, uh, you know, efforts. See, sure, when you make your game to actually reach the audience that you're actually targeting that game to go to. This is the way you develop your art. This is the way you channel your art. However, I've seen some folk using it in this particular context, and it's very misleading. Shout out to an audience member. They sent me a Discord message with Clownfish's video about Xbox ending pretty soon. This is on our Discord, on the Video Game High School Discord. And so I took a look at the video because someone had also mentioned the video as well on the channel and said, hey, VG, you need to check this out. But I'm almost kind of tired on basically dealing with these exclusivists. I think I've born them naked, that they're more about the list wars than anything else. That's basically what I've realized. Because at the end of the day, the games come to them with all the options, with all of the possibilities, and they're still complaining about something. Whereas the PC gamers who got access to Game Pass and have seen its value are looking and going, how can anybody complain about what, Xbox is doing for its own, platform, and for even trying to reach other platforms where people don't have the hardware. And now that everybody has come out to basically drop statistics on the gaming industry, you notice that everybody is quiet. The streets are quiet right now. You know that, right? When people said, oh, PlayStation was selling 75 million consoles. And then we looked at PlayStation's own software sales and we're like, PlayStation is basically a third-party machine for live service games. And then they said, oh, everybody on PlayStation, people blah, 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 buying games. And then they came out and said, not really. These live service games are what people are playing. So in this Clownfish video, I'm just, listening to what he's saying, just casually. And I see this comment. Immediately, I fire up my OBS software because I'm like, okay, here we go again. This person says, good riddance. Microsoft abandoned its core player base years ago and tried to pander towards everyone. The thing is that gaming is not for everyone. It's for gamers trying to cater to the normies, since the late lifespan of the 360 has backfired badly. I don't understand where this is coming from. It's very interesting. So I look at the replies, right? And somebody said each game ought to be trying to scratch a niche itch. Sometimes that succeeds in scratching an itch that everyone has, but it happens organically because it's something new and original and unique that no one knew they needed. Trying to make it scratch everyone's itch makes a generic, bland, boring, and unsatisfying, leading to scratching no one's itch. And then the person replied and said, a game for everyone is a game for no one. Which is very interesting because is this about what Clownfish is saying, or is this somebody's own perception of what is going on? Because, I could sit here and respond to the 11 minutes of what, Clownfish is trying to put out here. If you already listened to the first few minutes of the video, it's like, well, what's the need of buying an Xbox and blah, 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 blah. Again, all this so-called console thing and blah, blah, because there are no exclusives. Therefore, Xbox has failed. Not realizing that because there are no exclusives, Xbox Studios is here making more games, by the way, because guess what? While PlayStation players were eating good on the PlayStation 4 generation and some Xbox players were jumping ship and abandoning Xbox had to basically find a way to hustle money by taking its games to those gamers that were on Steam. Do y'all remember that? Because if it wasn't for those gamers that were on Steam, who actually liked some of these Xbox games, by the way, Xbox would have had to close a lot of studios and a lot more studios. I just finished making a video just now where we looked at Crafton Studio, the studio to make Callisto Protocol. They made a game that was multi-platform, everything. PlayStation helped them to get the game out and do all this stuff. They got engineers and all that stuff. The game still bombed. Dead Space, the remake, it basically did not, if you go look at its sale price right now, it's pretty much a freebie almost. And so if you don't sell your games to a broader audience, who may have gamers that want the itch scratched for the game you're selling, you're going to sit there on top of nothing. All these people are fake in terms of the way they approach this stuff. They want these studios to close dead so that they can feel warm inside and say that they have exclusivity. That's what they want. They don't realize it, but it's exactly what they're crying about. Oh, because you abandoned the core gamers by taking your games to other platforms. Why didn't you buy 3 copies if you wanted to support Xbox back then? This is the problem I have with all these Xbox, hyper fanboys. They're here too, I always make sure that I point out that, okay, the PlayStation hyper fans, they go crazy and such, but don't get it twisted. Even some of the, concerns that you see raised by some so-called Xbox exclusivists who have been ingrained and do not want to basically see the market for what it is, sometimes cause a frustrating paradigm. They create this framework that, oh, a game for everyone is a game for no one. Therefore, the audience must be, my dude, there have been Xbox games coming to y'all in the console space exclusively all this while, all these years. Where have y'all been? That is the question that needs to be asked. I've asked this question to PlayStation fans. I've asked this question as well, and I'm asking it to Xbox fans right now. Where y'all been? Even PlayStation's own, former executive Shuya Yoshida literally came out and said, these remasters are a good way for us to basically make money, and and PC ports are there to print money. He did 2 interviews and he said basically those things, and said, those of you who want to see new projects, you should be buying these remasters and remakes. Why? Because no one's buying these games much. So Xbox already not selling consoles because the former guy before Phil Spencer went ahead and dropped the ball with this TV thing. And so Phil is holding basically a bag of potatoes and calls it a console. What is he supposed to do? Let the studios die out because he wants to make your tummy warm inside? I'm supposed to make this video basically to criticize what Clownfish is saying. And then I look through the comments and I'm like, this is where the problem is. So for Clownfish, who's also coming into this perspective, and based on the 2 minutes I've watched, which it will be unfair to critique, and to hear him say things like that and pull up this article, which says Phil Spencer says Xbox is done trying to convince PS5 to, to switch gamers to move over. How many of you PlayStation players, and some of you listen to videos here, how many of you are going to go buy an Xbox? How many of you were going to go buy an Xbox to play Forza Horizon 5? Raise your hands in the comment section, please. Let me see you. Not many of you. Not many of you were going to do that. And then what I see is the pedantic nonsense of people saying, well, you get the pro enhanced version of Forza. My dude, there was no pro version for Forza Horizon 5 when the game was developed 4 years ago. Oh my goodness. Why are people so petty and want to be upset and unhappy about every single thing? This is a trend of just human behavior. This is the human condition we're seeing, guys. This whole thing about gaming and all that, we are seeing the raw version of the human condition. People just want to whine. That's just what it is. And I'm not even in the mood this evening. This is all the craziest kind of whining I've ever seen. They made a vow. They have studios of all kinds. They have live service studios that make you a little jumpy into mappy shooty, right? They got Overwatch. They got freaking Call of Duty and all that. If you don't play that, fine. Then they got their little, RPG little thing here, niche gamey, whatever, for some of their, gamers. Then they got their little, hack and slash that they're partnering with all these other studios to do. This is Xbox basically taking all kinds of genres that it can get its hands on and pour all those games in for players, and people are still whining. Can you freaking imagine? They got the Indiana Jones first person, big brand name, punchy, whippy game. I mean, what are they not doing? They have the, the drivey, mechanicy thingy. I mean, they got the sniper elite, stealthy, shooty. Which genre are you looking for? These guys they're spreading their tentacles. If they don't have a studio that's cooking it, they're finding other studios to bring it to your doorstep. Yet. It's whining that somebody else gets to play those games that is on the minds of these so-called fugazi gamers. I've never seen anything like this in my life, and they're everywhere. The PlayStation fans did the same thing, but I'm not focusing on PlayStation fans right now. Why are you complaining? What is this? Because you get to see these third-party games that come to Game Pass that would then launch on PlayStation, while you get them for a subscription fee, and the PlayStation players get to pay for them. And yet, you don't really hear many people complaining about that. You don't complain about it. You want all the benefits, but you don't want any so-called sacrifices. If at all, it's a sacrifice that you're even making for a game that's coming to you on whatever terms you want, with an option and a buffet right in front of you. I don't understand what this layer of gaming is, guys. To me, I think gaming and the conversation around it is cooked on many sides. It's just so weird. I was going to listen to this video in good faith and say, okay, let's see how we can, parse what is being said here. Let's see if what's being said here has merit to it. Because already the premise is that Xbox wants to jump away and leave the consoles. And I think many of these people are basically, they're inhaling the gaslighting fumes, the gaslit fumes of these kinds of stories to continue to foment their dissatisfaction. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. They already have a little bit of, I don't know what to call it, maybe insecurity or whatever the heck it is. Oh, my game is going to another platform. So then when somebody says, well, there might not be an Xbox, console, they immediately latch onto that. Some people are, and, let me not say anything negative about, I don't know, guys. I just don't. This is crazy, and there's going to be a lot of work to do to untangle this conditioning that's been done. And I'm saying I blame some of these hyper fans, but the reality is there's some blame that goes to these big publishers themselves. This is why many people trying to convince them that the exclusivity market, not even convincing them, trying to show them the reality of the exclusivity paradigm dying is like peeling their skin off of their body. Because they've been so conditioned and ingrained to think that exclusivity is superior as a business proposition. But yet, studios are closing. Developers are rushing, pouring their games everywhere quickly in like an emergency. Because apparently exclusivity has pretty much found itself in a very weird place. A saturated market. I'll try my best to make some more videos on this issue. Let's talk. Thanks for watching. Peace out.